Hello, world. This is America's Supermom, and this is a special edition that I call the Corona Chronicles. During this time, we are suffering from a pandemic that is affecting everyone across the world. We are joined with the rules and regulations of being shelter in place, which means we are limited with the ability to go about our daily business, confined to our homes based on a coronavirus that has been sweeping the entire world. For some people, the effects could be mild. For others, it can be fatal. So we are coming together as a community, as a family during this time of difficulty to share what it is like in our part of the world, how we are affected, and the things that we have in common, what kind of problems that are taking place in our industries and in our relationships and finances, and coming together so that we can plan for a better tomorrow. As this epidemic or pandemic crosses the world, we are waiting for relief. We're waiting for the virus to die off and for us to go back to some state of normalcy, whatever that may be, after things kind of settle down. So, what is that going to look like once the dust settles? How are things going to be different? So as we go through this process, we're coming together as a world to create ideas, strategies, connect in ways that we have never connected before. So that is the purpose of the special podcast that I call the Corona Chronicles, so that we can get some insight and have empathy and compassion on one another, create new, innovative ideas that can not only improve our life, but our fellow brothers and sisters across the world. Thank you so much for joining us. I want to thank you guys for listening today. I'm really excited about my next guest, Lawanna Bradford. We actually got connected through a Facebook group, Celebrate You, a group for women embracing wellness. So I am really excited to have her come on and talk to us and give us some words of wisdom, just her insight, her perspective during the time of this pandemic. I believe that it's important to have a good support system around you, people that are pouring positivity into you during times like this, because you will have your good days and bad days, but it's important for us to know that we have each other during such a uncertain and chaotic time. I also want to recognize this group and all the founders and thank them for uh, giving me a platform to share my voice and to be an example to such a great group of women in recognizing me this month in April. So I want to thank them for that. And at this time, I'm going to give Lawanna the opportunity to introduce herself and let us know a little bit about her.
Well, thank you. And thank you again for having me, Lachelle.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I love to do is I love finances and I love strategy. So, as a serial
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneur, I'm in both lanes. I have a commercial and investment mortgage company, which is called the Bradford Group. So,
Okay.
we help position businesses, homeowners, as well as investors in expanding their portfolio, whether it's purchasing, refinancing. And then on the business management consulting side, which is called the Bradford Group Consulting, I did help businesses strategically position themselves for growth, for
Mm.
success, for sustainability. So on that side of the fence, we call ourselves change agents, and we thrive in
Mm.
environments like this because we're always looking and exploring opportunities where there appears to be stumbling blocks. We showcase clients so that they can see that they're not stumbling blocks, but they're stepping stones. And then how to navigate the
Mm-hmm.
maze that may be before them. And then I'm what you may have heard the term dualpreneur. So not only have I have been an entrepreneur for over 30 years, a serial entrepreneur for over 30 years, I also have a professional hat that I put back on again about 6 years ago. And I
Mm-hmm.
actually work for the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention as a financial management analyst. So I handle
Mm.
all the overhead costs and aligning budgets and resourcing associated with different disease lines and program lines, like with opioids. That's a huge piece that's under our
Mm-hmm.
umbrella.
Awesome. So, I mean, you are definitely a great guest to have on today because, hey, there's so many different areas and angles that we could discuss. The first thing I would say is, you mentioned CDC. So,
Mm-hmm.
everybody is mindful of, oh, this is on social media, all these different videos that are given through Facebook and all this kind of stuff. So I just want to talk to somebody who actually works with the CDC and just give people some insight on where should they get their information from. I know it seems basic, but for
Sure.
some people, they're stressed out and panicked by some of the things that they're watching and listening to.
Yes. Well, there's actually three key areas. The first is um, coronavirus.gov or cdc.gov. So that's
Mhm.
CDC's main site, and it's the that particular element of the website is updated daily. So it's giving you
Okay.
insights, things to do, how to protect yourself, protect your family, what's going on with testing, etc. So it's like a culmination of everything that you hear on the news, but from the official source. And
Okay.
then there's the World Health Organization, and that's WHO.int. So organization.int, and
Okay.
that's the global landscape. The other thing
Mhm.
that I encourage individuals to do, because we're all dispersed. So, that's looking at
Mhm.
globally, then it's like looking at it nationally, the landscape. But now you have your state and local health departments. So I
Mhm.
encourage individuals to, if you're wondering what's happening in your area, what mandates that your governors have put in place,
Mhm.
where might there be testing locations, etc. That's where you're going to find that particular level of detail is at your state and local health departments.
Okay. Very good. So this is good because a lot of people just, they don't know. For a lot of people, social media is the news. So
Yeah.
it's good to kind of get that added insight. So we're talking about you consulting people and being a change agent. And I just love that term because so many of us really have a hard time with change. You have people that are sheltered in place and for whatever reason, this is taking them out of their comfort zone and they really are in a state of panic or they cannot even think in a positive way because the world that they've known it has changed drastically.
Yes.
So, what insight, just in general, first, before people might be in the wrong mindset, to kind of get them into the mindset of accepting change, what would you recommend them start doing?
I think the first thing is acknowledging it. It's kind of hard to
Mm,
accept something if you choose to have what I call the ostrich syndrome. I want to put my head in the
mm,
sand. I want to pretend that it doesn't exist. Let's blanket
mhm,
myself and maybe it'll go away. But acknowledge it's there. I mean, this is everybody's in the same boat from big government
mhm,
down to the smallest person. Uh, everyone is in the same boat. No one has gone through this before. It is impacting
mhm,
everyone from standpoint, a mental health standpoint, a physical health standpoint. So you're not alone. So in that,
mhm,
I encourage businesses, individuals to seek solace in knowing that everybody in the world, every single person is going through the
mhm,
exact same thing. And it's okay to be
mhm,
fearful. It's okay to be worried, concerned, stressed, frustrated, angry,
mhm,
confused.
mhm,
Those are normal. If you're
mhm.
not feeling that, then you must not have a pulse because
Right.
because it's
Absolutely.
Totally unknown. We do not know from one day to the next what it's going to look like. Everything we knew, all
Mhm.
systems and structures that we had confidence in, are shaken. From our financial
Mhm.
systems to our supply chain systems, everything. So everyone is like, I like to call it, building this new plane as we're flying. And we're hoping to
Mhm.
do it with minimal damage as possible. So the first thing is saying, okay, this is what it is. I don't like it. I'm angry.
Mhm.
It's whatever. Have that conversation with yourself and with God. Now
Mhm.
get over it. It's like, okay, there, it's done.
Mhm.
Now I can get to the point of accepting. And then say,
Mm.
now that I've accepted this, what can I do in my control to help influence the
Mhm.
life that I have right now? I can't worry about what's
Mhm.
happened, right? That's gone. And I can't worry about
Mhm.
what may happen, but I
Mhm.
can dictate what's going around right now. I'm under, this social quarantine. I'm in these four walls,
Mhm.
so what am I
Mhm.
doing here? I can control my mindset.
Mhm.
That's a choice. That's a
Mhm.
choice. And I think when
Mhm.
you do that, that's when you start to transition to having a clarity of mind. And when you have
Mhm.
clarity of mind, that's when the key of genius turns on.
Mm.
But
Mhm.
clarity
I love
doesn't
that.
operate in chaos. It just
Mm.
doesn't.
Yes, I love that. So, this is something that you mentioned earlier about this is a time that you long for in terms of dealing with the financial landscape. So I love the way that you have a perspective that's even positive amongst a lot of negativity. So, uh, for somebody who is looking to see the hope in tomorrow and recognize the opportunities during this time, what type of things should they be looking for? Somebody maybe who wants to change industries, maybe their industry is going to be disrupted or either eliminated. So, for someone who's looking to change industries or something like that, what are some things that you could share with them that they could kind of look for as an opportunity, so to speak, instead of something
Sure.
negative?
I think the first thing is knowing every industry is impacted, everyone. So even you look
Mhm.
at,
Mhm.
one of the biggest industry in demand right now is public health. But look at how they're
Mhm.
buckling under the demand
Mhm.
because the
Mhm.
infrastructure was not constructed to handle what we're handling now. So what I
Mhm.
would say is if you're in this space of uncertainty, if you've been hit financially, if your job has been eliminated, if your job may be
Mhm.
eliminated, if you have a business and you don't know if you're going to be able to keep those doors open or how long those reserves are going to last. Again, get in that
Mhm.
space where you can find clarity
Mm.
and you'll be amazed when clarity comes, the craziest of ideas will start formulating. Don't discount the
Mhm.
ideas because
Mhm.
many millionaires, businesses, innovations are built during times of crises, during times of depression, during times of lack. And if it can happen for
Mhm.
other people, why not you?
I love that. I love that. And so, this is great because a lot of people, I love the whole thing about clarity cannot inhabit the same space as chaos. And that is so true. I love that because, clarity really can help you put a lot of things in perspective. So, for somebody just in the
Mm-hmm.
financial landscape, people's household income may be changing, or you recognize that a lot of your expenses are decreasing because, you're not doing dry cleaning, you're not traveling, with gas, with commuting and things like that. So, what would you recommend people begin to do with some of this surplus that they may have in order to prepare themselves for after the pandemic kind of subsides and things begin to gradually get back to some state of more
Sure.
normalcy?
Well, I don't necessarily look at it as, well, let me put it in, it's not a blanketed answer. So I'm going to put it in two buckets.
Mm-hmm.
So one bucket is if
Okay.
your income has not been hit yet, meaning there's still income flowing
Mm-hmm.
in. So if there's income flowing in
Mm-hmm.
and you aren't having to, pay for gas and other expenses that you may have otherwise done, entertainment expenses, travel expenses,
Mm-hmm.
then yes, then you do have a surplus. In that case, I would
Mm-hmm.
say save it, because you don't know what may
Mm-hmm.
happen. However,
Mm-hmm.
or you may need to use it to help a family member. But if you are on the side of the
Mm-hmm.
equation where we means that the I think it was last week they were projecting 45 million Americans were going to be unemployed. So if you happen to be in that bucket or
Mm-hmm.
in an at-risk bucket, uh,
Mm-hmm.
then there's not a surplus because you don't have an intake. There's nothing coming in. So though
Right.
you may
Right.
have less day-to-day expenses, you really don't, because what was paying that mortgage, paying those utilities, paying that those grocery bills has now dried up.
Mm-hmm.
So until you can
Mm-hmm.
manage to wade through the lengthy lines and now the whole paperwork process to apply for your unemployment,
Mm-hmm.
and when that comes, which is good, they're going to
Mm-hmm.
give you an extra $600 on what you were originally going to qualify for, up to, I think it's going to be 2 months. But what's next? So you have to
Right.
get to a state where you can start looking at, how can I reposition myself? And I want to use this example. I thought it was so brilliant. It was a photographer and they were showing him on
Mm-hmm.
CNN. And so he had this wonderful studio, this renowned photographer, and obviously you can't take photographs. So business is closed, doors are closed.
Mm-hmm.
And he was sitting at home wondering, well, what am I going to do? And he said he sat there for two
Mm-hmm.
weeks asking the same question. He finally got an answer. His inner voice told him, well, you love photography. Why don't you create patio photography? So what he did, he got in his car
Mm.
and he's now driving around his city, knocking on doors, standing back, social distance, telling them what he's doing, and he's capturing families in the moment. So in this once in a lifetime moment,
Mm.
he's capturing families standing out on their patios, in their social distance positions. Sometimes it's single people that he sees, it's seniors. And they were just beautiful moments. So,
Wow.
and I could see something like that eventually being compiled into, a book, and then eventually
Right.
sold, because he's capturing life as it's happening.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. How smart is that? And the element of creating a memory for the people
Yes.
that live through this.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's
So
awesome.
I
No,
think
that's
there's
awesome.
there's never
Yeah.
one of the things I met years and years ago, a multimillionaire by the name of Jim McCracken. I was probably 20 years old at the time. And I remember asking him, I said, what
Mhm.
advice would you give me? And he said, oh, that's simple. He said, never, ever pray for money. And I thought, well, that's easy for you to say, you've got all this money. And he said, no, always pray for
Right.
knowledge and wisdom, because there's never a lack of money. There's only a lack of knowledge and wisdom.
Mhm.
And so for me,
Mm.
that has
That's
been
good.
one of the um, foundational pillars in my journey of life, is always remembering that when things have hit and when I may be
Mm.
confused, I pause, and it's like, okay, no, I need knowledge and wisdom. The word tells us to have knowledge and wisdom around our neck. So there's truth in that. And every
Mhm.
time this
Mhm.
genius idea will pop up, or someone will come with a resource, or a door will open. And I do
Mhm.
want to say to your audience is, I've survived 4 economic downturns. The largest hitting me was in 2008. And remember, I said I had the mortgage company.
Mhm.
So what do you think happened to my income in a
Mhm.
nanosecond? Instantly stopped. And
Right.
so I had to quickly
Mhm.
adjust, redefine, because it's either that or I was going to be homeless. And it got to the point that after I had
Mm-hmm.
done all that I could, I had to pick up the phone and say, Mom and Dad, I need some help. And thank God they were able to.
Mm-hmm.
But there were so many other things I
Mm-hmm.
had to let go. I mean, by the grace of God, God kept my health. I had let go of my health insurance. I mean, I was cutting to the
Mm-hmm.
bare bone and
Mm-hmm.
praying I didn't catch a cold or anything like that. Um, so what
Right.
I'm saying is I'm speaking from experience that you can all not only survive this what I call a web of yuck that's
Mm-hmm.
blanketing us right now, but you can thrive. You really
Mm-hmm.
can.
I love that. I love that. That is awesome. And so, talk to us really quickly about, after overcoming
Mm-hmm.
this in 2008, the mindset that you have to have, because I love how you said, crazy ideas, but they end up may not being crazy. And I say crazy because, these are things that come to you. Other people may not be able to identify with that. So, what type of advice would you give somebody who has to follow that voice in spite of other people validating that?
I think
How would
sometimes
you be able to
when you
do
get
that?
certain ideas, you have to hold them close. You have to be very guarded who you seek counsel
Okay.
from and who you share your dreams with, because there are dream
Mhm.
stealers out there. There are people who can't see your vision and will quickly say, well,
Mhm.
that doesn't make sense. It's never been done before. Why would you need that? Think about if Steve Jobs had followed the
Mhm.
naysayers. Why do you need a phone? Well, that doesn't make sense. We got
Right.
computers. We have phone books. We everything he created, he didn't create, he innovated difference.
Mhm.
We already had. He
Right.
just made it central and accessible.
Mhm.
So this now we are in
Mhm.
the most amazing time in creation, digital knowledge. If you have knowledge, if you are an expert at
Mhm.
anything, I would say start packaging that and selling it. People are home right now. What do you do
Mhm.
well? If
Mhm.
you if you if you can
Mhm.
write and you can make little mini ebooks about something, get that out and sell it. There's so many things we
Mhm.
can do,
Mhm.
um, but just don't sit and do nothing. Because I guarantee you, if you sit and do nothing,
Right.
tomorrow and the next day, you're going to be exactly where you are now. I can guarantee that.
Yeah. So true. So true. So what type of what's your daily routine? Because this definitely, I understand we all have ups and downs, and I mean, me having 12 kids sheltered in place, my husband working out of state, I definitely understand every day is not a good day. But what are some things that you do in your routine that keeps you grounded
Sure.
with
Well,
this
I
mindset?
I'll say what I do now, in this environment, in the new COVID environment, because some things that I would do, like as far as going to the parks and things like that, I can't do anymore. So I found a way to
Right.
create my own sense of solace. So the first thing I do in the morning, when I get up and I pray, is I spend probably about 30 minutes to an hour in quiet reflection. So I go to, there's a
Mm.
soundscapes channel that I go on my TV. And the reason why I love it, it's just meditative music from all music genres. But what I love is the positive quotes that pop up. And I literally sit and stare at the screen. I just kind
Mm.
of like empty my mind, and I just let the images and let the words just pass before my eyes. And when I feel like I'm full,
Mhm.
then I get up. It's like, okay, it's going to be a good day. I say that to myself. It's going to be a good day, because some days I'm not feeling well. I mean,
Mm.
I don't know if I told you about my story, but I was diagnosed with a form of cancer 5 years ago, which is lymphoma, and I'm not in remission anymore.
Mm.
So, I mean, so I in all of that, it's like, okay, my
Mm.
body has physical limitations, and I have to always talk to myself, speak life to myself. There's days that I don't always feel well. This past weekend,
Mm.
it wasn't from a physical standpoint, a good weekend. But I had to force myself to say, Lawanna,
Mm.
you can lay here in bed and wallow in this pain, or you can get up and just start walking and trusting that the more you walk, the more you move, you're going to
Mm.
start feeling better. And did I jump up
Mhm.
immediately? Of course not. I laid there for a while. But then eventually, I'm
Mhm.
like, a few hours later, it's like, okay, Lawanna, come on, get up, because tomorrow's not promised. Get up. Tomorrow's not promised. So for me,
Right.
every day is a sense of
Mhm.
urgency, and not an urgency from a fear standpoint, but an urgency like
Mm.
when you were a child
Mhm.
and it was at Christmas morning, and you want everybody in the house to wake up so you could open your gifts. I
Mhm.
am now looking at every morning when I open up my eyes, it's a gift. And I want that excitement, and I don't want
Mm.
to sit and sleep my life
Amen.
away. And I want to close my eyes
Mm.
knowing I did
Mhm.
something good today. Even if it's just picking up the phone and calling someone that may have
Mhm.
needed to be picked up by my little quirky sense of humor or whatever it may be. Sometimes you have to step outside of
Yeah.
yourself, and that in turn becomes cathartic for you.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. I love that. And I love the way that, you have to be proactive. The fact that you have to create those moments and, you decide to show up regardless. It's like, just I always tell people that heroes are made in the dark. And by that I mean, those are the characteristics that you build when nobody's looking. So everybody will look at you being recognized and the things that you're doing, and they forget about all the
Yes.
work that was going on behind the scenes, the work that you were doing when everybody else was asleep, or when everybody else was doing something else, and you had to take that moment of continuing to build, even though it looked like it wasn't having an impact. So I love that. That is just great to have that example that you're setting for other people. So, what is the best way for people to get a hold of you? Because you just have a lot of knowledge. I'm sure there'll be a lot of people being able to resonate with your story and how you have
Sure.
such a
They can
positive outlook
reach
about these
me
things.
at our website, which is Bradford Group MTG.
Mhm.
So Bradford Group MTG, like mortgage.com. Or you can reach me on Facebook,
Okay.
LinkedIn, and Twitter by
Okay.
Lawanna Bradford. That's Lawanna Bradford. And if you also want to check
Mhm.
out what we're doing on our Celebrate You Facebook page, you'll always see me there. It's Celebrate You Women Embracing Wellness.
Mhm.
Or you can call me at
Mhm.
678-428-5589. 678-428-5589. And that number, well, I actually have two phone numbers, but because of where we are now, I'm giving you the number that you can access me directly if you
Mhm.
just need to talk. If you just need to talk, I'm here. And
I
I
love that.
again, I survived 2008 because not only were my parents there, but I had that great counsel walking with me and willing to listen to me and give me an ear and show me support. So I'm here to give back in any way that I possibly can.
I love that. Love that. So glad that you were able to join us today, and looking forward to many more collaborations. I love your strength. It's evident through your testimony and things that you've shared. So, again, I just want to express my gratitude for you coming by and, giving people hope, because this is one of the things that, we could talk about all the negative stuff all day. It's on the news constantly, but I love being able to pour out some positivity,
Well,
especially
thank
right
you
now
so
in this
much for
time
having me,
that we need
Lachelle.
to.
I enjoyed it. Okay, thank
Awesome.
you.
Well, I'll be in touch soon, okay?
You too. Bye bye.
All right. What a great interview. I am so excited to have had the opportunity to sit down with Lawanna Bradford and hear her insight during these challenging times. So, a lot of people wonder, what? You have 15 kids. How do you do it? And this is why. Surrounding myself with positive women who have so much strength and focus and clarity. Granted, we all don't have those days every day. We do have our ups and downs. But to me, I believe it makes a difference the type of people that you surround yourself with. Because, there's times when you may be weak and someone who's in your tribe can help lift you up. It's just like running a race, and you know how like you get a cramp in your leg and you can't run the race, and somebody comes alongside you and kind of helps you limp to that finish line. That's what it is when you're connecting with the right people. There's times when you feel like you might be limping and you need a little extra support, because it's not always going to be a great day. But it's making sure that you have those people that are willing to help, those that can provide you with added insight and help you to overcome some of those challenges. So I hope you were listening to see the struggles that Lawanna had. She was a part of the economic downturn in 2008. But here she is in 2020 giving advice and giving us insight on how to overcome. She didn't stay back in 2008. She evolved through her experiences to come back and share her insight and prevent others from having the same issues. So I challenge you guys to get that. We have to go back sometimes and reach back and help others, but she wouldn't be in this position with this platform if she stayed woe is me like a victim in 2008, still singing that same song in 2020. People don't want to hear that, okay? So I really challenge you guys to think about what is it that you can share. You could be a high school graduate. Maybe you don't like the job that you're having, but you still could go reach back to the high schoolers and give them a word of encouragement. The easy thing is that you can do it in a video. You can get on TikTok, right? I love that platform, by the way. You could get on TikTok. You could get on Instagram and do a little video on words of encouragement. What were some of the challenges that you had in high school that you can help them overcome? I mean, it could be anything. So, within my tribe, I try to use any platform I can to inspire people to take action. Don't just listen to what I've done or what some of these other people are doing. Use that as a way to encourage yourself to look inside and figure out what it is you have to share. So, in that vein, if you do feel like you have something to share, I would love to have you to be a guest on the podcast. Contact me at info@LachelleAtkins.com. I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Pinterest, TikTok, and I have a YouTube channel. So I encourage you to reach out. Anything you could share is valuable information. Don't qualify it. Don't seek validation. Just get on the microphone of the podcast and share your story. Share your words of wisdom. That's all I say about that. So again, we want to thank Lawanna for her insight. And I encourage you, if you're kind of just getting out of this comfort zone, you're working at home, this is something that's new for you, and you want to network and meet a great group of people, join our group, Celebrate You, Women Embracing Wellness on Facebook. Reach out, tell them that I told you to join so we can get together and begin to build one another up and make tomorrow a lot more impactful and more meaningful and more encouraging and hope-filled than what it is that we're witnessing right now. So again, I want to thank you guys for listening. Stay tuned for more great episodes. And if something that you heard resonates with you, then please share it. Share this podcast, get on my iTunes, and make a review. Let other people know what kind of insight I have and how it blessed you. Thank you again for listening.